This is why you should always take your lockdown drills seriously. In 2017, two 16-year-olds were in their school bathroom when the lights suddenly went out and their school went into lockdown. Feeling rebellious, they decide, you know what, let's go explore the school a little bit first, and then we'll go follow procedure. They step out of the bathroom and look down the hall towards their classroom, and they see this large figure standing in front of their classrooms. It's definitely not a student, it's not a teacher. He's got ragged clothes on, and he starts walking towards them. They dart right back into the bathroom to the corner stall where they hide, praying that that man didn't see them. The man bursts in and starts yanking open all the stalls, not wanting to see what happens when
this guy's friend because he was so cute. So one day I tell my mom, hey, why don't we take cookies or something to welcome the new neighbors in town? And my mom was like, that's a great idea. So we end up going over and we meet them. They're really nice. And the cute boy comes downstairs and he tells his mom he's going to go to Bible study. Well, when we get home, I tell my mom, hey, you know what? Maybe I should join a Bible study group too. And my mom was like, great idea. She even told me to go ask him about it since he had mentioned it. One day he's mowing the lawn, so I decided to go talk to him and ask him about the Bible study group. He actually ended up taking me there that same day and we had a fun class. Over the next few weeks, we became really, really good friends. Best friends. We told each other everything. But there was always attraction between.
I will never get tired of talking about Mary Vincent. When Mary was 15, she was hitchhiking home and a man named Lawrence Singleton picked her up. She was exhausted and fell asleep on the drive, and when she woke up, she realized that they were going the wrong way. The man made excuses for it, turned around, and then pulled over to pee. When Mary hopped out of the car, she was hit over the head with a sledgehammer. He held her captive and raped her for hours on end. Then he cut off both of her arms below the elbow and threw her off a 30-foot cliff. Mary stuck her arms in the ground to help create a mud pack and started climbing back up the ravine. She walked several miles until someone finally stopped to help her. As a teenager, Mary testified against Lawrence.
My grandmother drove me to work today, and it was the scariest day of my life. So I'm just sitting in the passenger seat, horrified, while we're going 30 miles under the speed limit. A police officer pulled us over for going so slow. So the officer asked my grandmother for her license, registration, and all that, but my grandmother was confused as to why she was pulled over. The officer tells her, he goes, ma'am, you weren't speeding, but going that slow is just as dangerous to other drivers. So my grandmother goes, officer, I was going the speed limit. Down the road it said the speed limit was 22. The officer was like, ma'am, that was not the speed limit. You're on Route 22. And my grandmother was so embarrassed. She goes, oh, I'm so sorry, this and that. And the police officer just said, okay, just drive the speed limit and you can go. But before the officer went back to his car, he looks at me and goes, son, why you been so quiet? You look horrified. Is everything okay? I looked at him and said, officer, I'm a little shaken up. We just got off Route 119.
A man escapes prison after 15 years, then breaks into a house to look for money. He finds a couple in bed, orders the guy out of bed, and ties him to a chair. The escaped prisoner then ties the wife to the bed and jumps on top of her, and it looks like he kissed her, then gets up and goes to the bathroom and closes the door. While he's in the bathroom, the husband whispers over to his wife, hey, he's an escaped convict. Look at his clothes. He's probably spent a lot of time in jail and hasn't seen a woman in years. I saw the way he kissed your neck. If he wants anything, don't resist, don't complain, just go with it. Satisfy him no matter what. This guy is obviously dangerous, and if he gets angry, he'll kill us both. Be strong, honey, and I love you. His wife looks at him, smiles, and says, he wasn't kissing my neck. He was whispering in my ear. He told me that he likes men and thinks you're cute and asked me where the Vaseline was. I told him it was in the bathroom. Be strong, honey, and I love you.
I was putting away my boyfriend's laundry and found a ring in one of his drawers. My boyfriend has always been an introvert. I travel a lot for work and I'm gone at least once a week, a month, sometimes more. I thought this was good because he likes to have time to himself. He had a lot of hobbies and spent a lot of time with his friends playing games while I was gone. He worked, but his hours and pay were better. I got a managerial position and almost didn't take it because I would be gone even more. He told me to do it and we needed to save for our future and our kids. We talked about marriage and what he wanted. We also looked at engagement rings together online. The one that I liked is the one he bought. I thought it was for me and I got so excited about it. I was stupid and let it slip to my best friend that I found the ring. She told my boyfriend and that's when they sat me down and told me the truth. My best friend told me she's been sleeping with him for the past 3 years, like she was proud of it. My boyfriend told me he's in love with her, that she was there for him more. I didn't understand it at first because he told me to take the position and yet he made dumb excuses like that. They were sleeping together behind my back for 3 years and then they had the audacity to ask me to move out. I made my now ex pack all of his stuff and leave the apartment immediately. I'm completely devastated.
Once when I was around 6 or 7, my mom brought home some delicious chocolate and gave some to me. I loved the stuff and stole the bar that she had saved for my stepdad.
He comes home and my mom can't find the chocolate. She asks me what happened to it. I blame the dog Duncan, knowing that he often eats things off the counter. I didn't know at the time that chocolate was toxic for dogs. My mom goes terribly pale and rushes Duncan to the vet, and he has to throw up. I felt terrible about this, and I thought it was because he stole the chocolate and was some form of punishment. So the next day she brings home more chocolate, and nobody told me that it was for Duncan's own good that he was taken to the vet. So feeling bad for doing this to Duncan, I gave him my chocolate, this time thinking he deserved it after taking one for the team. Later that night, my mom asked me how the chocolate was, and this time I decided to tell the full truth and explain that I gave the chocolate to Duncan this time as I felt bad for getting him in trouble yesterday. So after another late night trip to the vet, I was finally told that chocolate is toxic for dogs. Duncan was fine in the end. Now the twist is that the very expensive vet trips cost a lot of money, which prompted my mom to take a look at our expenses. That's how she found out our stepdad was hiding an affair and then got a divorce. I was engaged to the love of my life, but my sister met up with me and begged me to break it off. She said I had to leave him because they were in love. And he was just too afraid to break up with me because he didn't want to hurt me or my family. When I confronted my fiancé about my stepsister's accusations, he straight up denied it. He said she's been trying to come on to him for some time and he never mentioned it because he didn't want to ruin our relationship. He begged me not to believe her, and so we continue how we were. My stepsister grew resentful and made nasty comments about how I was forcing a man who didn't even love me to marry me because I had low self-esteem. A month later, I get a text from my sister. It's a video of her and my fiancé sleeping together in my bed and multiple screenshots of him telling her he loved her, how he wished she was the girl he was marrying, and how he hated that I wouldn't let them be together. I was devastated and angry but decided to move in silence. I went home, grabbed all my stuff, removed all my money from my joint account, and moved in with my dad. After that, I sent all the screenshots to my family and his. He tried getting back with me multiple times, but I ended up blocking him when I found out he proposed to my sister with the same ring he gave me. I left it behind. Now they're getting married. My boyfriend and I went to his sister's wedding last Friday. They've always had a strained relationship, but overall it was a great wedding. We were enjoying the party when my boyfriend goes up to the DJ and asks for the microphone. I thought he was going to do a toast for his sister, but no. He asked me to come up to him and I was terrified. I remember thinking to myself, he is not going to do that. No way. I take a quick glance at the bride and she is furious. He then proceeds to propose to me at his sister's wedding. Everyone was cheering for us, but his sister just looked like she wanted to cry. I didn't know what else to do other than say yes. I was crying, but not happy crying. After that, I went up to his sister and was apologizing over and over. She was livid. I felt so sorry for her. I left early and my boyfriend came back to the hotel room at 2 a.m. hammered. And so I decided to confront him. At first he was like, "Babe, my whole family was there and it was the best time." Until he finally admitted that he did it because his sister had ruined his graduation by announcing her wedding. He used my proposal to get back at his sister. I left the morning after and haven't talked to him since. I don't know what to do. He won't stop calling, but I'm overwhelmed with emotions.
Storytime ex-boyfriend edition. Let's talk about the drama. So I dated this guy for about a year and a half. I knew him for 8 years before that. He was actually my teacher at university. But don't worry, we dated way after I graduated. I'm even a little bit older than him. Artsy, cute, nerdy, what can go wrong? Well, we could only hang out after 7 p.m. and there were only specific days that we could hang out. Yes, I know, red flags, I was stupid. But the time we had together was amazing. So I decided to turn a blind eye. This guy, with no shame at all, hangs out with other girls and posts them all over his social media. He refused to call me his girlfriend, but I was the love of his life, the most beautiful girl he's ever been with. I even went to his family functions. So basically, I was a girlfriend at convenience. So I start paying attention. There's girls' hair all over his apartment. Perfectly laid out, by the way. She knew about me. So I decided that I was going to take my pink hair and lay it right next to hers. This story gets so juicy, like for part 2.
Karen Storytime Part 1. So a little bit of background information. It's my 12th birthday, and I'm an anti-Karen Karen, which means that I am a Karen, but against Karens. So I stand up for Gen Z against Karens. Moving on. So it's my 12th birthday, and we go across the street from my house to this park. And yes, this park is traditionally meant for toddlers, but it doesn't mean that a bunch of 12-year-olds can't be there. There were maybe 7 of us. We weren't being disruptive. We were being really polite and nowhere near the toddlers that were there. This lady comes up and starts yelling at us for being near her kids. So I went home and I called our private security for our neighborhood, and I asked them if we were too old to be at the park because that was her excuse for asking us to leave. The security said that we were absolutely allowed to be there as long as we were with a parent. Come back for part 2.
My fiancé and I are high school sweethearts, and we've been together for about 12 years. We were engaged for around 3 when he passed away due to an accident in the beginning of 2020. A few weeks ago, his brother came to visit me, and he's planning to propose to his girlfriend. He asked me if he could have the family's engagement ring. The ring my fiancé gave me is a family ring which has been in the family for generations. I have been wearing this ring for almost 3 years, and it's a symbol of our relationship. I don't feel ready to give it up. When I told him this, he got upset and said it's a family ring and it belongs to him now that his brother is dead. I told him to get out. I called his mom to let her know why I wanted to keep the ring. She told me she wouldn't have minded if I had been married to him, but I wasn't, so I'm not part of the family, and therefore I should return the ring. She said I'll move on one day, and it's unfair to hold on to a ring that I will never wear again, especially a ring that belongs to our family for generations. I would have at least considered giving back the ring in a few years. I just can't bear the thought of parting with this ring now. So I told her I'm sorry that she felt that way, but her son gave me this ring and I'm not giving it back. Since then, his mom and his brother have been spamming my phone with messages and calls about how I'm trying to steal their family ring.
Story time about the girl who was absolutely obsessed with me in high school. So it was my junior year in high school, and I'm just going to tell you guys the first story of how I knew that she was absolutely obsessed with me and wanted to be me. Well, I had been dating this guy for like a month, and I sent him nudes. Well, my nudes got spread around the school, and everybody knew they were mine until this one girl, and we're going to call her Addie, started saying that they were hers. I guess one of my friends was talking about it in class and they were like, OMG, did you hear that her nudes got leaked? AKA mine. And Addie was sitting at the same table and she said, no, those are my nudes. And at first I thought this girl was just trying to be nice. I was like, oh, well, that's nice of her, you know. Like maybe she's just trying to say that so that way nobody will bully me, I guess. Well, the one day I texted her about it. And I was like, hey, like, you don't have to do that. It's fine. I'll take responsibility for it. I did it. And she was like, what are you talking about? Those are my nudes. Like for part 2.
Girls, tell me about a time where your quick thinking probably saved your life. I'll go first. 2 years ago, I was walking my dog at the park and a man approached me and asked to take a picture of her. And I said yes, because why not? It's a picture of a dog. So he starts taking a picture of my dog, and then I realized that he was like holding up her collar, and then it hit me. My address is on that collar. He's not taking a picture of my dog, he's taking a picture of my address. So I told him that I actually didn't feel comfortable with him having a picture of my dog, and I asked him to delete it. So he deletes it and then like starts walking away really fast. And I was like, excuse me, sir, no, could you also go into your deleted album and delete it from there? And he goes, I don't have a deleted album. And I was like, you have an iPhone. Everybody has a deleted album. Could you please delete the picture? And he was like, sorry, I don't have a deleted album. And like keeps walking away. And keep in mind, this is like 2 p.m. in a park. Like there's other people around. So now I'm like chasing after him and I'm telling him, sir, I know you have the album. I will show you where the album is. Can you please go onto your phone so that we can delete the picture? Oh, part 2.